Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever noticed how we sometimes speak, she eats the cake, and sometimes we say, the cake is eaten by her? They both sound different, right? But they actually mean the same. If I talk about she eats the cake, it means कि cake उसने खाया है. And if I talk about the cake is eaten by her, it means कि cake उससे खाया गया है. So why do we use in two different ways? So in today's lesson, we are going to uncover the secrets of how English tell us who did the action and who received the action. Now, what is voice? Voice in English grammar means who is doing the action or how the action is happening. मतलब voice का मतलब ग्रामर में होता है कि कौन एक्शन कर रहा है या फिर वो एक्शन कैसे हो रहा है. Now there are two types of voices, active voice and passive voice. Active voice is when the subject does the action and passive voice is when the subject receives the action. Now subject क्या होता है? Subject in the sentence, subject ये नहीं कि है English, Hindi, Math, Science, etc. Subject in a sentence means who performs the action or who is being talked about in the sentence. Subject, if I give you an example, Riya plays football. अब इसमें subject क्या है? Subject होगी Riya. क्यों? क्योंकि वो एक्शन कर रही है. वो कौन सा एक्शन कर रही है? She is playing football. Another example can be Rohan is playing cricket. कौन होगा एक्शन? कौन होगा इसमें सब्जेक्ट? रोहन होगा सब्जेक्ट. क्यों? Because Rohan is playing football. Rohan is playing cricket. Rohan is performing the action. So, or if I tell you an easy method to find out who the subject is in a particular sentence, just question what or who in front of the verb. For example, I give you the same example. Riya plays football. अब इससे हमें पता कैसे चलेगा? हमें ऐसे पता चलेगा we'll place who plays football. Place क्या था? Verb था. Verb से पहले कौन लगा दिया हमने? Who लगा दिया या तो what लगा दिया. Who plays football? Riya plays football. Okay. Another example can be Rohan is playing cricket. Who is playing cricket? Playing is another verb. वापस से verb है playing. So who is playing cricket? Rohan is playing cricket. Okay. We discussed that there are two types of voices, active voice and passive voice. We are going to talk about active voice. Now, active voice is when the doer, when the subject is doing the action. मतलब जो subject है वो कुछ काम कर रहा है. It is the subject is doing the action. Now, active voice को frame करना is very easy. First, we'll start with subject. Subject, basically the doer. Subject plus verb. Now, verb can be anything. Playing, sleeping, eating, dancing, etc. तो इधर verb plus object. Object मतलब apple, football, etc. अब now if I give you an example, let's say I eat an apple. I eat an apple. I क्या हो गया? Subject. Eat क्या हो गया? Verb because I'm eating it. And apple क्या हो गया? And apple क्या हो गया? Apple and apple would be the object. Now, if another example can be she writes a letter. मतलब she writes a letter का मतलब क्या है? वो letter लिखती है. She क्या हो गया? She is the subject. Writes क्या हो गया? Verb. और letter क्या हो गया? Object. Okay. Now we'll talk about the passive voice. Passive voice is when the subject receives the action. मतलब जो भी subject है या doer है वो जो action कर रहा है वो receive करता है. और इस sentence में we do not focus on the subject but we focus on what the subject is doing. जो subject काम कर रहा है हम इस पे focus करते हैं ना कि subject पे focus करते हैं. Now इसका structure क्या होगा? Object plus to be verb. To be verb क्या है? Is, am, are. Will not use was and were. I repeat, will not use was and were. Plus past participle. पास्ट पार्टिसिपल हम डालेंगे इज एम आर, बट हम यूज करेंगे वर्ब का थर्ड पार्ट. Now plus by plus the subject. Now if I give you an example, for active voice I gave you I eat the apple. In passive voice it will be the apple was eaten by me. The apple क्या है? The apple is the object. The apple is eaten by me. Is क्या है? The to be verb or the helping verb. Eaten क्या है? Verb का third part. V3 past participle. The apple by plus mean क्या है? Subject है. Now another example could be in active voice it was she writes a letter. In passive voice it will be the letter is written by her. The letter क्या है? Object. Is क्या है? To be verb. The letter is written. Written क्या है? The third part of verb. Written. Write, wrote, written. Plus the letter is written by her. By plus her क्या है? Subject है. Now that's all about passive voice. Now we'll discuss a very important topic. How to convert active voice into passive voice. सबसे पहले क्या करना है, हमें एक सेंटेंस दिया होगा, उसमें सबसे पहले हमें देखना है कौन सा सब्जेक्ट है, कौन सा वर्ब है और कौन सा ऑब्जेक्ट है. जब हमें ये पता चल जाएगा we'll just replace subject to object and object to subject. फिर क्या करेंगे, we'll use the correct to be verb. To be verb is am are या फिर helping word प्लस पास्ट पार्टिसिपल, जो भी वर्ब दिया होगा उसका पास्ट पार्टिसिपल फॉर्म लगाना है इज एम आर के बाद. देन व्हाट विल डू, विल यूज बाय इन फ्रंट ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट. सब्जेक्ट बाद में जो सब्जेक्ट के आगे. नाउ फॉर एग्जाम्पल द टीचर एक्सप्लेन्स द लेसन. द टीचर सब्जेक्ट एक्सप्लेन्स वर्ब. द लेसन ऑब्जेक्ट. द लेसन इज एक्सप्लेन्ड टू बाय द टीचर. The lesson is explained by the teacher. The lesson क्या है? The lesson was the object. Object is explained. Is we using the to be verb. Is explained क्या है? The third part of the verb explain. Explained by the teacher. By क्या? By we'll use the teacher was the subject. Now it will come here. Active form is changes to passive form. There is a change in pronoun also. How? For example, I changes to me. They changes to them. You will remain the same. He changes to him. She changes to her. Please note these changes because we often make these common mistakes. For example, this work is done by he. Why he? It should be the work is done by him in the passive form. Now I'll give you some practice questions and do answer in the comment section. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any doubts, do comment in the comment section. I'll surely answer you. We'll meet you in the next time. Bye.